Vanishing Cultures Down Under by Jan Reynolds. Down Under. Introduction. The Tiwi are Aborigines who live on a small island just off the coast of Australia. For shelter, they make simple roofs out of tree bark, and sometimes they sleep out under the open sky. On walkabout, the Tiwi travel through the bush or wild country, moving from place to place where they know they will find water and food. They believe the landscape was shaped long ago during the dream time, and while on walkabout, they can return to this time. For the Aborigines, the natural landscape has its own beautiful spirit that will never change, and in the dream time, they share this spirit with the land. But the Aborigines' ancient way of life is disappearing. New roads and towns change the shape and natural rhythm of the landscape and interfere with the traditional pathways of walkabout. We and the Aborigines are all part of the same human family, and the loss of the Tiwi's traditional way of life is our loss too. Like the Aborigines, we all depend on the natural world to live. We all share this earth, its land and waters. And because of this, perhaps we should take a look at the Aborigines' life in harmony with nature before it vanishes forever. Far down under, the bright sun sets over one of Australia's tiny islands. Inside a ring of small fires that keep wild animals away at night, a young Aboriginal girl named Ampanula whispers to her mother, asking for one more story. She curls up close as her mother begins her tale about their tribe, the Tiwi. Long ago, your great-grandmother went on a walkabout, walking day after day across the land, searching for food and fresh water. When she traveled the same path many times, she entered the dream time. Aborigines believe in the dream time, the time when our great ancestors, the sky heroes, shaped the land and created everything on earth, including us. Just like great-grandmother, when we go on walkabout, we become part of the land, part of the dream time. This land we live on is very special. It belongs to no one person. It is here for all of us. This is why your great-grandfather taught you to dance your own dreaming, the dance you were given when you were born. When you dance, you also become part of the land. Soon, Ampranula sleeps and dances in her dreams. The next day, Ampranula's mother shows her how to collect string bark. These strips of bark are used to build simple roofs for shade from the hot afternoon sun. They can also be woven to make the baskets that the Tiwi carry when they go on walkabout. The Tiwi paint their baskets with bright designs. On walkabout, Aborigines follow the same paths their ancestors traveled long ago. They carry few things with them, and they look for food as they move from place to place. Using a small mirror, Ampranula reflects light into a hollow log, and she sees something move. Grandmother chops at the log, hoping to scare the animal out. She chops halfway through, but nothing happens. So she uses a long stick to push inside the log, and out runs a small bandicoot. Amprenula quickly captures it. Inside another log, Tipalipimuri, grandmother's adopted son, has found a large carpet snake. The snake cannot be scared out like the bandicoot, so they chop a hole in the log to pull the snake through. The Tiwi always get their food from the land, just as their ancestors did. Tipalipimuri helps grandmother look for other things to eat as they continue on their journey. After walking many hours, it is time to stop and rest. When the snake and bandicoot are cooked, Amprenula's mother also bakes bread in the hot ashes for everyone to eat. Her family is thirsty too. So Amprenula goes to a spring to fetch water. On her way, she almost falls into a large hole dug by a boar, a wild pig the Tiwi also hunt to eat. The water Amprenula collects is cold and clear because it comes from deep in the ground. Early the next morning, grandmother lights a fire to burn away some of the thick, dead grasses that cover the ground. This helps both the Tiwi and the animals. Fire burns away the brush, making it easier for the Tiwi to travel. And new green plants will grow in the cleared area, providing fresh food for the animals. The fire will not spread far because it will burn itself out. While the fire is burning, Amprenula and Tipalipimuri go for malaki, a bath, in a small river nearby. When the fire is out, they follow the small river to the coast. Here, where the fresh water flows into the ocean, the river turns into a mangrove swamp. When the tide flows out, the long roots of the mangrove trees are uncovered. Among this tangle of roots and mud, the Tiwi find crabs, mussels, and other shellfish to eat. As a treat, Amprenula and her mother also look for mangrove worms that live in the thick juice under the bark of the tree. They like to eat these worms fresh, the moment they find them. Hungry crocodiles sometimes swim in the waters that flow out to the ocean from the mangrove swamp. Amprenula, Tipalipimuri, and their small cousin like to swim in these waters too, but they always take care to watch for crocodiles. The beach at the edge of the mangrove swamp can be a fun place to play, especially when friends from other Tiwi families show up to run and splash in the water together. After playing on the beach, Amprenula and Tipalipimuri continue to look for food for their family and relatives. Amprenula goes off to dig in the sand for turtle eggs. Tipalipimuri goes spearfishing in the shallow waters with some friends. Family and relatives are very important to the Aborigines. The Tiwi even cut and carve beautiful poles from the trees to honor relatives who have died. These spirit poles are painted with natural dyes that were baked in a fire before being used. On this walkabout, Amprenula's family has made a spirit pole for one of their relatives. Some family members paint their faces and bodies for a ceremony that follows the placing of the pole in the ground. When the ceremony begins, a fire is built. Family members walk around and through the smoke to send their relative's spirit on its way to the spirit world. Then they dance their dreamings around the spirit pole to honor the relative they have lost. Premnula lives in a land where her ancestors have lived for thousands of years. When she goes on walkabout or dances her dreaming, she becomes part of the dream time, part of the land. She is proud to be an Aborigine living with her family in the bush.